The rain had just stopped, but the night still felt restless. Ethan thought he was doing a simple act of kindness when he bought a hot meal for a homeless man sitting alone in the cold. The stranger looked at him with eyes that felt far too familiar. Before taking the food, the man whispered something that made Ethan's skin tighten with unease. "You have no idea what you have started tonight." Ethan tried to laugh it off, but the words followed him home like a shadow. By morning, his face was flashing across city billboards. Police were calling his name. The homeless man was dead, and somehow, the small act of buying dinner had pulled Ethan into a secret that was already watching him. The rain had just stopped. Cold water still dripped from the edges of neon signs. Cars hissed across the wet pavement. Ethan pulled his coat tighter as a sharp wind crawled down his neck. He hated nights like this. Too quiet, too reflective, too easy for memories to surface. The street smelled of gasoline, damp concrete, and something faintly metallic. He checked his watch. 9:47 p.m. Late enough for trouble, early enough for regrets. As he passed a small diner glowing amber against the darkness, a movement near the alley caught his eye. A man sat hunched beside an overflowing trash bin. Thin, still, almost blending into the shadows. Steam rose from the diner's vents, drifting around the man like ghostly fingers. Ethan slowed. Their eyes met. The man's face was gaunt, his beard uneven, his skin pale beneath layers of dirt. But his eyes were alert. Too alert. Like someone who had forgotten how to sleep. "You got anything to spare?" the man asked softly. His voice carried no desperation, only exhaustion. Ethan reached into his pocket, empty except for his phone and keys. He hesitated. The warmth from the diner windows brushed against his face. Inside, people laughed over coffee. Plates clattered. Life continued. Outside, the cold tightened its grip. "Wait here," Ethan said. He surprised himself with those words. The bell chimed as he pushed the diner door open. Heat swallowed him immediately. The smell of grilled onions and fresh bread made his stomach twist with sudden hunger. He ordered the largest meal on the menu. Burger, fries, hot soup, coffee. The waitress raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. 5 minutes later, Ethan stepped back into the cold, carrying a heavy paper bag. The homeless man stared at it, as if it might vanish. "For you," Ethan said. The man accepted it slowly. His fingers trembled. "Not from the cold alone." "You are kind," the man said. The words sounded deliberate, measured, as if chosen with care. Ethan shrugged. "Just eat while it is warm." The man studied Ethan's face with unsettling intensity. Then he smiled. It was not a wide smile, not grateful in the usual way. It was knowing. "You have no idea what you have done tonight," the man whispered. A chill crept across Ethan's arms. "What does that mean?" The man shook his head. "You will understand tomorrow." Ethan forced a laugh. "Sure." He turned and walked away, telling himself the unease was ridiculous. Still, he felt those eyes on his back until he reached the corner. That night, sleep came in fragments. He dreamed of standing alone in an endless hallway. Doors lined both sides, all closed. Someone whispered behind one of them. He woke at 3:12 a.m., heart racing. Silence filled his apartment. Yet the dream clung to him like damp cloth. Morning arrived gray and heavy. Fog pressed against the city. Even the sunlight looked tired. Ethan stepped out of his building, coffee in hand. Something was wrong immediately. People stared. Not casually. Not with passing curiosity. They watched him. A woman nearly dropped her phone as he passed. Two men across the street whispered while pointing in his direction. A knot formed in his stomach. He reached the subway entrance. Above it hung a massive digital billboard. Flashing red. Urgent notice. His face appeared on the screen. Clear. Unmistakable. Taken from a security camera. The caption beneath it read, "Witness required immediately. Contact authorities." Ethan's breath shortened. "What is this?" he muttered. His phone vibrated violently in his pocket. Unknown number. He answered with shaking fingers. "Hello." A calm voice responded. "Ethan Cole, this is Detective Harper. We need you to come in right away." "For what?" "You interacted with a man last night at approximately 9:52 p.m. Cold spread through Ethan's chest. "The homeless man?" "Yes." A pause followed. Then the detective spoke again. "That man was found dead early this morning." The world tilted. "Dead? But he was fine," Ethan said. "He was eating." Another pause. "He was murdered," the detective replied. The word echoed louder than the traffic. Ethan felt suddenly exposed standing among strangers who now seemed too interested. "Listen carefully," the detective continued. "You were the last person seen with him." A police car pulled up beside the curb. Too fast, too deliberate. Officers stepped out, watching him, not threatening, but certain. At the station, the air smelled of stale coffee and disinfectant. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Detective Harper slid a photograph across the table. Ethan froze. It was the homeless man, but cleaner, healthier, wearing a suit, standing beside a younger version of Ethan, smiling at a company event from nearly 10 years ago. Recognition struck like ice water. "Wait," Ethan whispered. "That is Daniel, his former business partner, the man he thought had vanished after the company collapsed." "We know," Harper said quietly. "He lost everything after your firm went under." Guilt stirred deep inside Ethan. He remembered the lawsuits, the accusations, the night Daniel disappeared without warning. But why was he on the street? Harper leaned forward. "There is more." He placed a small object on the table, a sealed envelope. Your name was written across it in careful ink. Ethan's hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was a single note. "If you are reading this, then I was right to trust you. Last night was not an accident. They have been watching me. Now they will watch you." Footsteps sounded in the hallway outside the interrogation room. Slow, heavy, stopping right at the door. Ethan looked up. Harper frowned. "Were you expecting someone?" Ethan asked. The detective shook his head. The handle turned slightly, then stopped. Silence pressed against the glass walls. Harper stood and opened the door quickly. The hallway was empty. Only the hum of lights remained. When Harper returned, his expression had hardened. "We found something else in his coat pocket," he said. "A flash drive." He plugged it into a laptop. The screen flickered. Rows of files appeared. Surveillance photos, documents, bank transfers, names, powerful names. Ethan felt the blood drain from his face. One photograph showed Daniel sitting outside the diner, taken from across the street. Timestamp, 9:40 p.m. Another showed Ethan handing him the bag of food. Timestamp, 9:52 p.m. A third photo followed. Timestamp, 10:03 p.m. Daniel collapsing. A dark shape standing behind him. Face hidden. Harper zoomed in. The figure looked directly toward the camera, as if aware it was there, as if aware someone would eventually see it. Then Ethan noticed something that made his stomach twist violently. The figure held Ethan's business card, the same card he had given Daniel years ago. Harper's voice dropped. Whatever Daniel uncovered, it was big enough to get him killed. Ethan's phone buzzed again on the metal table. Another unknown number. A text appeared. "You should not have been kind last night. Now you are part of this." Ethan looked toward the interrogation room mirror. For a brief second, he thought he saw movement behind the glass. Not a reflection, a silhouette. Watching, waiting. Then the lights flickered once, twice, and went out. The darkness swallowed the room, and Ethan could hear his own heartbeat pounding louder than the silence. Somewhere in the station, a generator struggled but never came alive. A faint glow returned from the laptop screen, revealing a final file that had opened on its own. It was a live camera feed pointed directly at the police station. A message appeared across the screen. "You were warned." Footsteps echoed again, slower this time, stopping just outside the door. Ethan realized this was never about one meal or one man. It was about something far bigger that had chosen him. Detective Harper reached for his weapon as the handle began to turn. Ethan understood in that terrifying moment that his old life was already gone. Kindness had pulled him into a war he never knew existed. And as the door creaked open, he knew his life would never be safe again.